Hello there, this is Zauberer coming over today on Science Highz. Today we'll be looking at the atmosphere and climate change, and by the end of this lesson you'll be able to know the layers or regions of the atmosphere. That is the 5 main layers, which are the troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, and the exosphere. And we'll also be able to know some human activities which affect the atmosphere. And then we'll also be able to know what greenhouse effects and global warming are. Also, we'll be able to learn about the causes of global warming and the damaging effects of global warming, the ozone layer, and how the ozone layer depletes and its causes. All right, so let's move on to today's lesson. All right, so the atmosphere of the Earth is composed of a mixture of gases. The gases consist primarily of nitrogen, 78%, then oxygen, 21%. We also have argon and smaller amounts of hydrogen, carbon dioxide, water vapor, helium, neon, krypton, xenon, and the rest. All right. The atmosphere is kept in place by a strong gravitational force that keeps the gases from escaping. The most important attribute of the atmosphere is its life sustaining property. Human and animal life would not be possible without oxygen in the atmosphere. In addition to providing life sustaining properties, the various atmospheric gases can also be isolated from air and used in industrial and scientific applications, ranging from steel making to the manufacture of semiconductors. Now, regions of the atmosphere. What are the main regions of the atmosphere, or the layers of the atmosphere? There are 5 main layers or regions of the atmosphere. We have the troposphere being the first one. We have the stratosphere, the mesosphere, the thermosphere, and the last one is the exosphere. So we are going to look about going to delve deeper into these 5 main layers. Is that okay? The first one is the troposphere. The troposphere is the lowest layer of the Earth's atmosphere, and it is where all weather changes on the Earth take place. Everything that takes place involving weather, movement, rainfall, everything, it all happens in the troposphere. Now, the troposphere is bounded on top by a layer of air called troposphere, which separates the troposphere from the stratosphere, and on the bottom of the surface of the Earth. The troposphere is wider at the equator, which is 16 kilometers, than at the poles, 8 kilometers. The temperature of the troposphere is warmest at the tropical climatic zone and coldest at the polar climatic zones. All right, so that's the first one, the first layer, which is the troposphere. So actually the troposphere is where all weather conditions okay. Now the next one is the stratosphere. The stratosphere is the upper layer of the atmosphere with a height of 8 to 16 kilometers and extending upwards to about 50 kilometers. In the lower portion of the stratosphere, the temperature remains nearly constant with height, but in the upper portion, the temperature increases rapidly with height because absorption of sunlight by ozone. The stratosphere is almost completely free of clouds or other forms of weather. So because of this, when aircraft taking off and they realize that the atmosphere will not be conducive for them, they always try their best to fly above the troposphere so that all weather conditions like thunder, striking lightning and stuff doesn't affect the aircraft. So you see that they actually just fly above the troposphere so that where they will be actually at or flying out, that place will be free from any weather condition, rainfall, thunder, lightning and the rest. That place will be completely free. All right, now the next one that we are going to look at is the mesosphere. The mesosphere is just on top of the stratosphere. So the mesosphere is found above the ozone-rich stratosphere, where air and temperature again decreases with height. The mesosphere is the coldest layer of the atmosphere and extends from an altitude of about 50 kilometers to about 80 kilometers. The mesosphere has no weather. So the mesosphere too doesn't have any weather. The next one is thermosphere. Above the mesosphere lies the hot thermosphere, where air temperature can exceed to 1000 degrees Celsius, primarily due to oxygen absorbing the sun's energetic rays. Within the thermosphere is a region called the ionosphere, which is made up of ions in the air. Is that okay? Which is made up of ionized air. So it is made up of ions, a lot of ionized air. The region beyond the thermosphere is called the EXOSPHERE, which extends about 9,600 kilometers to the outer limits of the atmosphere. All right, so basically from the EXOSPHERE going, this is where the atmosphere just blends with space. So we start from the troposphere. The troposphere is actually the densest layer. So this is the troposphere. As you can see, this is the troposphere. It's very, very dense over here. As we are coming to the stratosphere, it is becoming less dense, where there is no weather. And don't forget that in the stratosphere we also have the layer called the ozone layer in the stratosphere. Then the mesosphere. The mesosphere is also without weather or anything like that. So this place too is lighter. Then as we come to the thermosphere, this place too is lighter. Exosphere, very, very light because of the ionized and everything like that. Then from here going upwards, the atmosphere just blends with space. It just blends with space. The atmosphere blends with space, and then we are just going up. So this is the whole picture of the layers: troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, exosphere. All right, now we are going to look at some human activities on the atmosphere. The quest for growth and development has always resulted in the increase in the concentration of greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide, water vapor, methane, chlorofluorocarbons, nitrous oxide, and ozone in the atmosphere. Now, greenhouse causes and contribute to the greenhouse effect. So greenhouse gases are those gases that contribute to the greenhouse effect. Human activities such as electricity generation, transportation, agriculture, and industrial processes contribute greatly to the release of greenhouse gases, which results in global warming, which results in global warming. So the greenhouse gases are water vapor, ozone, methane, and carbon dioxide. These are the greenhouse gases, and they are called the heat trapping gases. Water vapor, ozone, methane, and carbon dioxide. They are called the greenhouse gases, and they are the heat trapping gases. So more of this when we get to the greenhouse effect and the global warming. Electricity generation. So that's the first one that we are going to look at. Humans depend on electricity for many things. Most of the electricity we get in our homes, schools, workplaces, etc., is generated from plants which require coal, oil, and other fossil fuels to run. These fuels, when burnt, release carbon dioxide, which is a greenhouse gas. Is that okay? Into the atmosphere, which is a greenhouse which is released into the atmosphere. All right. The next one is transportation. Another sector which contributes to the release of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere is transportation. Planes, trains, buses, and cars run on petrol, diesel, kerosene, and natural gas, which produce greenhouse gases when they are used up. The next one is agriculture. The use of agricultural chemicals such as fertilizers, pesticides, and weed killers could destroy vegetative cover and pollute water bodies. These gases also release nitric oxide into the atmosphere. Farm animals also contribute to this ordeal by releasing methane into the atmosphere. Then industrial processes. Some of the industrial activities, such as the use of manufacture of chemicals, only result in further polluting our environment. The machines and plants which help in the production mostly run on fossil fuels, and the result of that is not avoidable. All right, so this is a chart that shows by percentage the various activities and their effects on the atmosphere. So industrial processes, as we see, 16.8%, power stations 21.3%, waste disposal and treatment 3.4%, land use and biomass burning 10%, and residential, commercial, and other sources we have 10.3%. Fossil fuel retrieval, processing, and distribution we have 11.3%. Agricultural bioproducts we have 12.5%, and transportation fuels, that is 14%. Other human activities such as defense, the manufacture and use of heavy weapons, land use, and deforestation heighten the release of greenhouse gases. All right, so before we move on to the next segment or section, we just want to do a quick recap of our objectives. So we've learned about the 5 main layers of the atmosphere. That's the first one that we learned. And the second one, we've also known about some human activities that affect the atmosphere. Now we are moving on to major pollutants of the atmosphere. All right, let's move on. An atmospheric pollutant is a substance in the atmosphere that can cause harm to humans and the environment. Since the atmosphere is made up of a mixture of gases, most of the pollutants are also gases. So the table below shows some major pollutants of the atmosphere, their sources, and their effects. So take note of that. All right, so we have pollutant, source, and its effect. The first pollutant that we are looking at is carbon monoxide. The source, you have motor vehicle exhaust, some industrial processes. Effects, what are some of the effects that it causes headache, dizziness in humans. Long exposure may lead to death. Is that okay? So when you go to a place which is saturated with carbon monoxide, you feel headache, dizziness. Unless you move from that place, then you start to feel well. All right, the next one is sulfur dioxide. The source is heat and power generation facilities that use coal or oil containing sulfuric acid plants. What are some of the effects? It makes breathing more difficult by causing the finer air tubes of the lungs to constrict. And then it also causes acid rain, sulfur dioxide. The next one is lead. Source, motor vehicle exhaust, lead smelters, battery plants. Effect, damage nerve cells in humans, and then it causes learning disability in children. All right, the next one is nitrogen oxides. So all the oxides of nitrogen, is that okay? So we have NO2, NO and N2O. All right, source, motor vehicle exhaust, heat and power generation, nitric acid, explosives and fertilizers. Effect, it causes acid rain, discomfort to human eye, headache, destroys plants, and has a role in reducing stratospheric ozone. The next one is ozone. So sources, motor vehicle exhaust and industrial emission, hydrocarbons and sunlight. Effect, it destroys the ozone layer, causing global warming. Chlorofluorocarbons, that is the next one, CFCs. Chlorofluorocarbons containing aerosols, so that is some of the sources. Then we have refrigeration equipment and some foams. All right, so I think there was a point in time where they had to ban secondhand fridges, and especially the use of CFCs in fridges and stuffs, because these ones were causing a lot of pollutants in the atmosphere and causing the depletion of the ozone layer. Effect, damages the Earth's ozone layer, which protects the Earth's surface from harmful ultraviolet radiation. CFCs are also powerful greenhouse gases which contribute to global warming. The next one that we are looking at is carbon dioxide. So combustion of fossil fuels such as coal, oil, and gas in power plants, automobiles, industrial facilities. Effects, contribute to global warming. Halogens or bromofluorocarbons, fire extinguishers, refrigerants, propellers in sprays, pesticides. Effects, causes throat, eye, and nasal irritation. Makes your voice change. Cough, light-headedness. All right, so those are some of the major pollutants of the atmosphere.